All right, you guys. So as I was going over in my head everything that I talked about in the video, I was like, I'm missing a few pieces. So I took some notes of things that I wanted to talk about. First is I wanted to talk about container counts. Okay. So I forgot that with the new packs that come out, oftentimes we do not have the containers that are included in the package. And that's totally okay because they're just a measuring tool. So as a reminder, you can also Google this, and there's like plenty of graphics that you can see. And once you do it enough, then it kind of like gets ingrained in your brain. The green and purple containers, so the veggie and the fruit, those are 1 cup servings, okay? The protein, you know what? Now that I think of it, I don't remember. Oh, that's 3/4 of a cup. I actually measure it by weight, so it's 4 ounces, because I don't always say I have a piece of meat. I don't want to always cut it up into to fit into the containers. So I started weighing all of my proteins, and except I won't weigh out, if I do yogurt, I won't weigh that out. But if I do any animal proteins, then I'll use that for the weight. But it's 3/4 of a cup. Carbs is 1/2 a cup. I don't know the measurement for the blue or the yellow or the orange. But like I said, you can Google those. But the other thing to remember is that on the food list, you're going to see some of them are either more or less than what you could fit into the container. For example, baby carrots. This one actually blew my mind, because I was having an argument with my husband about it, because I used to stack them all nice and neat in there so I could maximize how many I could get into that container. Well, you're only allotted 10 baby carrots for a serving. The reason being is that certain foods have a different macronutrient content than other ones. Baby carrots are going to have a lot more sugars. That's going to lean it more on the carb side. So that's why you get less of them. I also like to oftentimes opt for things that I get more of a mass quantity to eat than a smaller thing. So I will always opt to get the foods that fill up that container versus opting for 10 baby carrots, because I'm going to get fuller off of that. It's also really important for the carb count too, of checking on there, because if you're eating a tortilla or something else like that, you're going to get less than what you can fit into that container. Okay, so just making sure that you're looking at those carb counts on the list versus just always filling it up. The other thing too is that if you're starting this journey or working towards getting everything dialed in, you might not feel well. So remember I mentioned with my coffee, I put a lot of regular granulated sugar, 2 heaping spoonfuls of regular granulated sugar on top of the creamer that I was using. And that's a lot of sugar. And at that time, I switched to coconut sugar, which is lower on the glycemic index. Now I don't even use any creamer. I only use some stevia. But when I first switched from that granulated sugar, I actually thought that I had the flu. I was vomiting and felt awful. And my body was going through a detox. So just remember that if you start transitioning to eating healthier, especially if you're just now starting Shakeology, you might not feel very great. Just stick with it, because it will go away. It's just your body is so used to all of that junk, And then it's going to work vice versa. If you start to eat super, super clean and then eat a ton of crappy stuff, the crappy stuff is going to make you feel bad, which I like that better than if I'm eating something healthy and it makes me feel bad. So just be conscious of that. Know that it's normal. Know that it's part of the process, and don't let that deter you. Okay. Tracking your containers. That is a really important thing to do, especially if you're not doing time nutrition, because you want to make sure that you're eating enough, all of the containers, and then also not, eating too many of the containers. So I think it's on iPhone and Android now. I know for sure it's on the iPhone, is the Nutrition Plus app. So nutrition with the plus sign. That one is the best one to use. And it's super, super easy. And you just update it as you go. See, that's where I'm at for today. I haven't really eaten enough. It's 5 o'clock. I should be eating a lot more. So I'm going to be having a big dinner. But this is really, really, really handy to use and to make sure that you're eating everything along the way. If you're doing time nutrition, a good thing to do is put alarms in your phone. I think I still have some from when I used to need it. Obviously, these times are different because I just change it. But see, I use that as a reminder of like what meal it is. And it says eat pre-workout meal. Workout, hydrate. And see, eat. Okay. Obviously, those times are off. But that really helps as a reminder, especially when you're starting to do time nutrition, so you get used to doing that. Okay, the last thing, batch cooking. That is going to save you so much heartache. I can tell you for myself, if you don't batch cook, if you don't meal prep, like, you're going to start hating life. I would not be able to do what I do if I did not batch cook, because all I would be doing is cooking. So you have to make sure that you're preparing food ahead of time. I never cook a single meal for myself. I always make sure that there's at least going to be leftovers for at least one meal. But like the other day, I made a pot of chili. Like I mentioned, I do that egg bake. I will also do a bunch of chicken in Instapot, which I can use for shredded chicken. I also don't flavor it, so I can mix it up with different flavorings, different seasonings if I feel like it. Most of the time I just add lemon juice because it gives that flavor. I cook a huge pot of rice at one time. I will cook a huge bunch of steel cut oats at one time. Different things like that. I'll do a huge stir fry of vegetables and then just be able to just scoop a cup out of that and put it in there. I do, like I mentioned before, I do a lot of broccoli. So I buy the bag of broccoli, and when I'm portioning out my foods, my usual one, chicken, rice, and broccoli, is I will put in one Tupperware, I put half a cup of rice, I put that cup of broccoli, and then I put the chicken on there. The broccoli is raw. So once you put it in the microwave, put it in there for 2 minutes. It warms up the rice, it steams up the broccoli, and it warms up the chicken, and it's perfect. Super easy. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. I personally don't do a whole bunch of different like recipes, things like that, because it overcomplicates it. I have to figure out container counts, this and that. I don't want to do that. I have to keep my life simple. I've got too much going on. Now, I do want to preface, I eat different than my family does. Okay. I try to use some element from their dinner into my food. I try to keep dinner kind of flexible, especially when I'm not in preparation for competition. So like Tuesdays we do Taco Tuesday. So I will actually make sure that my husband keeps me some extra taco meat left over, but I will use that taco meat and either put it on a salad or do it with the rice and some vegetables, something along the lines of that. So I'm still eating with the family and not wasting food, because they won't eat all of that that they've prepared. But I still feel like I can be connected with them. But I also make sure, I mean, it is my food, and I do have to do it separate because it's important to me. Yes, the health of my family is also important, but I can't force them. I can offer it to them. It's there. Sometimes they use some of the foods that I've prepared. They know that if it's portioned out, to not touch it. But like if I've done a bunch of chicken in the Instapot and I haven't portioned it out, they can utilize it and they'll smother it with barbecue sauce or something like that, which I won't do because that's extra added calories. That's extra sugar that you're going to be getting, different things like that. When you add things like that, it's just extra junk that's going into your body. Okay. Those are the things that I have forgotten off the top of my head. Hopefully, it's kind of everything that's on there. But like I said, ask me a million questions. I'm an open book. I'm so willing to share all of the tricks and tips that I have learned along the way that have helped me get the success for the results. All right. Talk to you later.